There's an important move coming for BBC Schools programmes. From next term, they'll be on BBC Two, and there are slight changes to the way we'll be starting them. Before the programme begins, you'll see a Follow Shortly slide like this. That'll be for at least 30 seconds and often much longer. Then a new daytime version of the BBC Two symbol will appear. That means it's exactly 10 seconds to go. When necessary, we'll make special announcements over this slide, just before the programme begins. Otherwise, it's time to watch.
Watch.
Once again, the sequence is Follow Shortly slide for at least 30 seconds, then the BBC Two symbol with exactly 10 seconds to go, special announcements over this, or straight into the programme. Remember, a new sequence and a new channel. Schools are on BBC Two from next term, so watch out.
Watch.
Hello. This week I'm at Bristol Zoo. They've got hundreds of animals here from all over the world, and I've come to see how the keepers look after them and feed them.
The job of the zoo is to make sure that the animals have the right kind of place to live in, that they're fed properly, that they're healthy and happy, and that they are kept clean.
The first thing that happens here at the zoo, before the public arrives, is that the keepers clean out all the animal enclosures. This happens very early in the morning. The ape house here is cleaned before the animals even come out of their sleeping quarters. I'm a bit late. I better get a move on. Morning, Mike.
Hello, James.
Seem to be doing a grand job there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, what time did you start this morning?
We started sort of cleaning this out about 8:30 this morning.
Nice.
As you can see, it's quite a big cage, so it takes a lot of scrubbing.
It certainly is. How long will it take to do it all?
Ranges from about half an hour to about an hour. It depends how dirty they've been the day before.
Oh, well.
It's quite clean today, actually. I think you're lucky.
Oh, not bad. OK. Well, roll the sleeves up and I'll give you a hand.
Great stuff.
I scrub the steps very hard with soapy water. This is very important because it helps keep infection down. I was glad I didn't have to do it every day. It was quite hard work. After that, Mike asked me to wash down the windows. Then everything was ready for the gorillas to start their day. They're very big, aren't they? Making sure that the cages are clean and the animals are healthy is an important part of Mike's job.
What are you laughing at? Again.
Do you remember last week we saw him give special food to the baby gorillas? Well, all this care and attention starts before the new animals are even allowed into the zoo. I wonder who this is. It looks like a spaceman.
It's me. You're probably wondering why I'm dressed like this. Well, it's because I'm in a very special area. This is where the animals come when they first arrive at the zoo. And they come in and they stay here for about 6 months so that the vets can make sure that they're not ill and they can't pass any diseases onto the other animals in the zoo. And it's called being in quarantine. All the doors are kept very tightly locked, and special keepers only can come in and check that the animals are all right and feed them. Now, I'm allowed in today because the animals in here are now out of quarantine. Let's have a look at them. Hello. Hello. Here we are. These little things are called ruffed lemurs, and they come from Madagascar. They don't look much like monkeys, do they? But they're from the monkey family. They've been in here 6 months, and they've been checked, and they're all right. So very soon they'll be joining their other friends in the zoo. Here we are in one of the zoo kitchens, where Malcolm here has been preparing some food for the marmosettes. Let's go and have a look and see what he's up to. Hello, Malcolm.
Hello, James.
Marmosette food. Now, marmosettes, they're of the monkey family, is that
That's right,
I
yes.
see. Well, it's interesting to see what they eat. I can recognise some of the things. We have bananas, oranges, apples, pieces of cheese, and grapes. No, I don't know what that is. What's that?
That's just tinned meat, like dog food, really.
Oh, I see. What else do we have? Currants and peanuts. Very good. Is this the kind of thing that they eat in the wild?
More or less, they eat fruit and insects and things like that. We also give them these pellets with extra vitamins in this
Oh, I
country.
see. Oh, that's very interesting.
Marmosettes come from South America. Listen to the noises they make when they are excited. They sound a bit like birds, don't they? They seem to be very hungry, and the grapes are obviously their favourites. What do you think his favourite food is? Yes, fish. And this seal eats a lot of it too. About 25 mackerel a day. I had a go at feeding fish to the sea lions. They're fed twice a day. They got through a bucketful of fish when I fed them. The further I threw the fish, the more they seemed to enjoy themselves. And they certainly liked having an audience to show off to. The keeper in this cage is leaving meat for the animals. What sort of animals eat meat? Tigers. This is a rare white tiger. Most tigers are darker in colour and larger, like this one. Like all the other big cats, tigers are meat eaters, and they eat about 6 kilograms a day. Giraffes don't eat meat. They are vegetarians. These leaves are evergreen oak. The keeper ties them up high so the giraffes can reach them. That's because giraffes are the tallest animals in the world. This rhinoceros likes evergreen oak too. In the wild, he'd eat grass and leaves of all kinds. The keepers make sure that each animal has the right sort of food and the right amount of it. It's important that they have a balanced diet, and it's very bad for the animals to be overfed or given the wrong foods. That's why there are notices saying, please do not feed these animals. You may think that one biscuit won't hurt, but if everyone gave the camel a biscuit, think how ill he'd feel. So please don't feed the animals when you visit the zoo, even if the animals ask you to.
All the animals in the zoo need the special care and attention that the zookeepers give them. What do you think would happen if you tried to keep a large animal at home or in school? Like a bear. Well, I know someone who tried to do that. His name was Bert, and this is what happened.
Pets are the hobby of my brother Bert. He used to go to school with a mouse in his shirt. His hobby, it grew, as some hobbies will, and grew, and grew, and grew, until the very thought makes me iller and iller. Bert's brought home a gigantic gorilla. If you think that's really not such a scare, what if it quarrels with his grizzly bear? You still think you could keep your head? What if the lion came from under the bed, and the 4 ostriches that deposit their football eggs in his bedroom closet, and the aardvark out of his bottom drawer, all danced out and joined in the roar? What if the pangolins were to caper out of their nests behind the wallpaper, with the 50 sorts of bats that hang on his hat stand like old hats, and out of a shoebox the excitable platypus, along with the ocelot or jungle catipus, not to forget the bandicoot, who would certainly peer from his battered old boot? Why, it could be a dreadful day. And what, oh, what would the neighbours say?
Hey!
Louise went to visit some children who look after some smaller animals.
Hello, I'm at Juniper Hill School, and the children and teachers here have a kind of zoo of their own. They've got all sorts of animals, the sort of animals I expect you've got yourself. They've got rabbits and guinea pigs, lots of birds, and even a goat. With all those animals, it means there's lots to do, so everybody takes it in turns to do all the jobs. And that means making an early start with the cleaning out. The animals have to be cleaned out whatever the weather, and Sarah and Ruth are going to clean out the rabbit now. What's your rabbit called?
Henry.
Henry. And what sort of rabbit is he?
He's a French lop-eared.
I see. He's very big, isn't he?
Yes.
Come on, look.
Yes. Go on, Henry.
How often do you clean him out?
We have to clean him out once a week.
Once a week. And why do you have to clean him out so often?
Well, because if we left him in with the dirty sawdust, he'd get diseases and sore feet, and it'd smell.
Well then, do you get him out to clean him out?
Yes. Out you come, Henry, you devil. Oh, thank you. Out you come. Oh, you devil. You're going to pass him out. Right.
Here you go. It's very comfy. First, Ruth got rid of the dirty sawdust. Then she filled up the hutch again with clean bedding. Now that will last Henry for another week. As you can see, Henry needs a clean cage, just like the gorillas do. In the orchard behind the school, the children have lots of ducks and other birds to look after. The large ducks and peacocks have bread to eat. And the smaller ducks get grain. These pellets will last them until the following day. Even though it's raining hard, they still need to have their water troughs filled.
Here are some animals you may have in your school. The guinea pigs like apple and cabbage, and it's very good for them. Although the goat will eat almost anything, the children make sure he has his flaked maize and oats. The birds in the aviary need feeding every day too. The amount of seed is carefully measured out. And the doves will soon eat it all with a little help from the cockatoo. Sometimes there's a special treat for the birds. Today, it's a piece of banana.
When the animals have been fed and cleaned out, the last thing to do is to check that they're locked up safely for the night. This prevents animals from getting lost, and also any foxes that are roaming around from getting at the smaller animals. So, the children go around and check that they're safely locked up for the night, just as the keepers do at Bristol Zoo. Next week, I shall be back at Bristol Zoo, taking a closer look at animals from all over the world. Until then, goodbye.
Well, our next programme today on BBC One is News Afternoon, including the weather and regional news, which begins at 1 o'clock. It's now almost 16 minutes past 11, and until then, here's a selection of pages from the BBC teletext magazine, CFAX.